Hello everyone, this is Charissa again, back to our pre-launch series. So today I'll be sharing Sora. Okay, so before we start, right, this analysis is actually to help you if you're looking at Sora. I will be doing this full analysis from 1 to the 5 bedrooms. What are the things to look out for? I think these are some pointers that you probably might want to take note when it comes to buying any property, or even like for Sora, what are the key 5 things that we want to take note. So let's start. Okay, so Sora, the preview period will start on 22nd of June. The booking date is on 6th of July, and it is developed by Xinhai and KSH Holdings. Where is Sora? Sora is actually over here. It's located in D22 along Yanqing Road. And the amazing thing about this project, right, is actually facing Lakeside Garden, Chinese Garden, and Japanese Garden. So just a fun fact. This is the 3rd national garden in Singapore. So there are of course other 2 like Botanic Gardens and Gardens by the Bay. So I mean, these other 2 national gardens, I think it will be hard to get any properties there. So I think it will be amazing to have such a view that is facing the gardens and of course a lake. Okay, so just let me show you a bit of the view. So this is actually the sky deck, 360 sky deck view from the development itself, which is on the rooftop, where you can host your guests or whoever, you know, have parties and still overlooking this nice beautiful garden view and the lake view. Okay, so next, location wise, we are 4 stops to Lakeside MRT station and minutes to Taman Jurong Food Centre. So of course we also do have a lot of transformation going on in Jurong itself, which I will not be touching so much on it, but I will just briefly mention. We have the IPP over here and Jurong Lake District Master Developer site. So all these are within 10 minutes, 15 minutes drive to all this. So if let's say if you're thinking of this as a point of investment or even rentability wise, I don't foresee a huge problem. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, I will be touching on the analysis of the 1+ study 2 all the way to the 5 bedrooms and what are the things to look out for. So I hope this little analysis will be able to help you to understand a bit more how you can actually think of how the developer think, how you can leverage on all the good points of this project to make some money, to get some profits, decent profits. So basically, there are 440 units. The amazing part about this development, I personally like, is that it is a 300 meters frontage overlooking the 3rd National Gardens. Meaning to say, when I say 300, it means from this point to this point. Isn't it nice? Yeah, so basically, I would say that almost 78.5% of the units are actually facing the lake. So from this point itself, when a developer built it this way, means that the lake is actually the key point. So if we want to find a unit that is facing the lake, we also need to know which are the stacks are a bit more worth buys. Okay, so we will start from the 1+ study first. Before we go to there is basically 2 blocks. One is 20th floor and one is 12 stories. So there is a bit of an elevation in terms of the difference in height. So like I mentioned, 78.5% is actually facing the lake and the gardens. So of course, this is the elevation chart. We have 2 and 3 bedrooms, and 5 bedrooms is only 1 stack, which I will touch on later. Okay, so let's move on. So basically, from this distribution mix of the units, right, we can see that the developer actually set a lot of footholds on the 2 bedrooms. And basically, we only have 18 units of 4 bedrooms and 18 units of 5 bedrooms. So which makes the development actually very rare. And the 5 bedroom actually come with a private lift. So I will share a bit more in details why is it good to have pros and cons of having a private lift. So 1+ study. So basically 1+ study, right, is basically in stack 13 and stack 28 and is facing the HDBs. Most of the big units are actually facing the lake view. Only the smaller ones are facing the Yanqing Road itself. So 1+ study, it's facing the HDB. So let's look at the layout. So the layout is actually quite interesting. Okay, so let me show you first. So this is the layout of Sora, 36 units, non-PPBC, 538 square feet. So the interesting thing about this layout is that I've mentioned, the study is actually in the master bedroom itself. Okay, which means to say, if let's say, for example, if you want it for own stay, I think this is super ideal because I've personally seen it's huge. It's been a while I've seen such big master bedroom available in the market. And we have a galley kitchen, and you still have your proper dining and living room space. So I think this is quite ideal for own stay, or even if let's say we are buying for investment point of view. I have an idea. Okay, so here. So if let's say we are buying for investment, right, there is a possibility of creating it into a 2-bed 1-bath. So I'm going to show it to you now, how to do it. Okay, with the new creation, right, we can actually, because the study is connected to the master and then they have a balcony, so I think it will be possible to actually create or erect another room over here. And you still have your living room space and your dining space. And if let's say it were to become a 2-bedroom, the average rental for even a 1+ study in D22 itself, we talk about Lake Grand, for example. Lake Grand, the average rent is about 3.5 to 3.7. So with the new creation, we can actually maybe anticipate 4.2 or even 4. I think will already be higher than the rest of the neighboring projects. So I think this layout is one very good layout because you are buying in as a 1+ study, but yet there is a possibility of erecting another room and create it into a 2-bed 1-bath. Supply wise, which I will touch on also. So D21, of course, it will be a better location because it's the RCR, right? So D21, there is approximately a total of 966 units, comprises of 1 and 1+ study. Available for sale is only 102. Okay, so we might think that it's, I mean, it's probably about a 10 or 11%. But let's look at D22, yeah? So when we look at D22, right, D22 has approximately of 553 units, and of which only 93 units are 1+ study. Okay, so and we look further, right, there is only 22 units for sale. So it's actually even lower in terms of ratio wise. We don't talk about the numbers, we talk about in terms of a percentage, in terms of ratio wise, it is much lower than even for a neighboring better location, D21. It is only 4% as compared to 11% in D21, because the reason is D22 has one of the highest rental yield. Okay, so that is the reason why when you have a good rental yield, a steady rental yield, there's no one that wants to sell the property. Yeah, so if you get into the market, if you are able to pick something like this, or if you're looking at a 1+ study, I think this is very good for investment, and in terms of rentability, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay, another thing I want to touch on is that supply in the vicinity, right? They are mostly this kind of layout, which means that they have a study at the far end, and then in between there's a toilet, and then you have your master bedroom here. And then of course is the long kitchen kind, which is a bit more narrow lah. Okay, and this type of layout is a bit harder to create another room. And then like I've mentioned over here also, this is the same kind of layout, it's also in between. But whereas for us, we are unlike others with the 1+ study at the far corner. Ours is like this. Ours is study in the master bedroom, and then there's still a possibility to create another small bedroom. This is created by me actually. Yeah, so it's just to let you visualize. It's just to let you visualize that it's possible to actually do up like this. So it's a single bed. You still have a huge master bedroom. You still have your living, dining space. It can be like a co-living kind of concept. And then of course, with this kind of creation, we hope to be able to fetch a higher rental yield of 4,200 as compared to others of maybe 3.5 or even 3.7. We are 500 to 700 more than your neighbors. Okay, so next thing I will talk about will be the non-harmonization. Okay, so non-harmonization, because Sora is an en bloc site, so there is no harmonization in Sora itself. So this void or even loft area in the highest floor, right, will actually be one of the rare things that won't be available in the market in the future lah. So if let's say you're considering getting a high ceiling unit, that can be part of your consideration. But of course, we need to see, later I will do a comparison whether should we go lower floor first or should we go higher floor first, because every unit types, I actually done my research, we should do it differently. Okay, so pricing strategy. So for this pricing strategy, right, I will be using Lake Gardens as comparison. That is the closest to us already. Okay, so Lake Gardens, for example, I will be taking the lake facing 4-bedroom versus the HDB facing 1+30. Okay, I will later explain to you why I will do that. Okay, so there isn't a lake facing 1+30. So we have to take a biggest unit and then we versus the smallest unit to see what is the percentage difference in terms of their floor level, in terms of how the developer priced their PSF, to actually help us better understand which one is actually more a worth buy. Okay, so in the next example, I will actually show it to you. Okay, so if you can see here, right, the 17th floor unit, 1-bedder facing HDB versus the lake facing 4-bedder, right, it's actually a marginal 0.7% of difference. And then we move down, of course, we have the mid-floor unit, it's only at about 0.8%. Okay, then we move down to the lowest floor, which is 2nd floor. We see a 5.5%. Okay, this is what I want to show. So which means to say, right, if the high floor HDB facing, right, is actually priced as high as the lake facing 4-bedder, then it's not something that we should consider. We should consider something that is in a bigger gap. So I think for the 1-bedder, right, for Sora, we don't have the pricing yet. So what we can do is, even when you go to the launch, right, I think what you can do is how we want to gauge whether is this unit a worth buy or not. I think this is a very good way of gauging a HDB facing versus a lake facing 4-bedder. And then you see the percentage difference. So I have other videos that I've done that I mentioned 5 unit types that you can extract during the launch so that you can see the whole overall elevation chart. That video is not posted yet, so I will post it soon. But okay, anyway, back to this thing. So basically what we're trying to do is we are trying to understand the developer's pricing strategy. So if, let's say, for example, if based on this, what I've analyzed, and when you go to the launch day in Sora, if let's say you were to get a lake facing versus a HDB facing, and we get the high floor versus the low floor, and the percentage, for example, this is 5.5, for example. Not saying it's a for sure, but I'm just saying for example, then of course we will go for the high floor unit, because that means the high floor 1-bedder is attractively priced. Of course, then in the future you want to sell and everything, it will be, of course, be better because it is more a worth buy than the mid floor, for example. The mid floor, for example, is 3%. Then of course this one will be a better buy. So for now, what I've done and researched, Sora is based on the same kind of pricing strategy. Then we should go from low onwards. Yeah. Okay. So this is the 1+30. Okay, so later in the 2 and the 3 and the 4, I will also be doing this, but it will be shown differently. So we will need to then see again which the unit types, how we want to adopt the pricing strategy. Okay, so the recommendation is, I will recommend stack 28, yeah, because there's only 2 stacks ma. So stack 28 and lower floor, like I've mentioned, because the price gap between the HDB facing and the lake facing, it's about a 5.5% difference if they adopt the same pricing strategy. So, and why I choose stack 28 is because it is a bit further away from the entrance. Yeah, so this one is nearer lah. So for sure, I will go for something that is a bit further if we want to go for low floor. Okay, but of course you can also compare it with stack 13's low floor and see what is the price difference during the launch day if you are keen in the 1+30. Okay, so moving forward, we have the 2 and the 2+30. Okay, so I spoke to a lot of my buyers, so they mentioned Sora is not so near to MRTs. I also asked them this, is buying a two bedder not near to MRT station, or even a one bedder not near to MRT station, a wise choice. So I did a little bit of research. Let me show it to you. Does being near to MRT equals higher profit? We will be using Alex Residence and Principal Garden as a comparison. This is in D3. So 3 minutes to MRT station, that is Alex Residence. 3 minutes walk. And then Principal Garden is 17 minutes walk to MRT station. Of course, a lot of people, location-wise, they will think that Alex Residence is a better location. Principal Gardens is 17 minutes, not so good location. Next, I will show you how they actually perform in the resale market. In the two-bedroom analysis, right, I've actually extracted some examples. So the two-bedder in Alex Residence actually made a profit of 248,000. 3 minutes walk for MRT station. Whereas for Principal Garden, they made a profit of 525. Of course, the size is slightly bigger, but in terms of profit-wise and the PSF-wise, is actually much higher. Yeah, so by right, if the unit is bigger, the PSF should be lower, right? But then for this one, the PSF is actually much higher than even compared to something that is 3 minutes to MRT station. So how did it actually achieve this 100% more in profits for Principal Garden? Okay, so I think the most important here is next, I will use this example to actually showcase why this has actually 110% more in terms of profit. Okay, so next will be Seaside Residence that I was talking about. So Seaside Residence, the name itself tells us that it is facing the sea. So I think the most important thing about buying into a project is to be able to understand what is the unique selling point of the project. Okay, so meaning to say, for example, for Seaside, it is sea facing. That is something that we want to go into. Okay, so we have to play to the project's good points. As for Alex, definitely is near to MRT is the selling point. For here, Principal Garden, why they are able to make a lot more is because Principal Garden is 80% communal space. So only 20% are the units itself. So basically when a buyer walks in, right, if a buyer is buying for own stay, a lot of buyers, they also have a lot of emotions when it comes to buying a property. So even I myself, I personally quite like Principal Garden. I went to Principal Garden, I feel that, you know, the communal space is so huge. You can run from one block to another. Yeah, and the feel we walk in is different, it's airy, it's breezy. So most of the units actually in Principal Garden make quite a fair bit. Yeah, so that is the unique selling point, even it is not close to MRT, but because of the project itself, they want to sell the space, they want to sell the homestay area. Buyers, when they walk in, they will have the wow feeling. That is what they want to sell. So this is the project. This is the selling point of Principal Garden. So as for Seaside, it's also the same. They want to sell the sea view. So for Sora, we also need to understand or identify the selling point, so which is definitely the lake and also the National Garden. Let me show you where exactly is Seaside Residence two-bedder first. Okay, so for Seaside Residence two-bedder, we have Stack 3. We'll be comparing for Stack 3 and Stack 14. So definitely this is a sea facing, and then this is the school facing, I think. School facing. So next, I will show you how they actually perform. So yeah, school facing, correct. Okay. So stack 3 will be the sea facing. Okay, this is school facing. So in terms of profitability wise, the sea facing actually made 215k more than a higher floor unit of the school facing. So basically what I'm trying to derive here is that even the sea facing was purchased 6% higher in price, purchased higher at a lower floor, but yet they actually made 215k more than a school facing unit. Yeah, so basically because when in the resale market, buyers when they come in, they go in, they see, wow, the sea, versus a view that is like this, which may be quite widely available as compared to this that is a bit more rare. If you have been to seaside, you will understand what I mean. When you open the door, you will see like, wow, the sea is just right in your face. Especially in D15, a lot of buyers, they want to be near to the sea or they want to have a sea facing. Definitely, they will be willing to pay a little bit more. This owner, they actually earn 495K just by having a lower floor and sea facing. For Sora, we also need to understand if we're buying into the facing, what should we take note of? Okay. So next, I will be showing the 2-bedroom first. So basically the 2-bedroom, there is 2 types of units, 6, 4, 6 at stack 6 and 7. This is till level 12 only. And the other stack, which are all HDB facing units. So the smaller 2 bedrooms are HDB facing. 667, stack 20 and 21. It's located on the 20-story block. Okay, so I will be sharing later what is the main difference of the layout. For the 646, right, it's basically a dumbbell layout. This, honestly, I think it is more of a for investment point of view, because likely this will be a lower quantum based on the size because it's on the shorter block. And whereas for this 667 unit, it is a traditional 2-bedroom kind of layout. And I think the main thing we need to take note is the windows. Okay, for the 667, I personally feel it's much better because the master bath comes with a window, common bath comes with a window, and most importantly, the kitchen actually has a window as well. So which means to say, if let's say we want to enclose this part, it is possible. Okay, I'm not saying that the dumbbell can't do it. The dumbbell also can do it, and we have a window here as well. But the common bath, there is no window. No window. Okay, so in the future, if you want to sell it, if it's for own stay buyers, I think these are the points that they might want to take note of. But of course, this also can, you want to put a glass or whatever, you know, you can enclose and then open up the door, or even open up this kitchen window. You can do your heavy cooking, etc. Okay, so I think more of the recommendation, I will show it to you how I actually derive whether is it suitable or whether is it worth buying in. It's based on this. Okay, so let's say for example, estimated price for Sora B1 2-bedder, which is the smaller unit, say 646. Let's say based on an average of 2000 PSF, we are getting ourselves into a 1.292 million. So if let's say for example, if the 667 is priced the same at 2000 PSF, having the same facing, so we are actually only paying 42,000 more only, which means to say it's only a premium of 3.25%. So I think anything in this range, or even anything below a 5% mark, it is still considered quite reasonable. So we need to first understand how much is, maybe when you go to the launch, but you can understand first how much is this selling for, and then of course we can get another one, 667 one, to understand how much premium are we paying. So I think anything that is below 5% is something that we can be worth considering, because in the future when you want to sell, you have a wider range of buyers, meaning to say, because these are the things that buyer will take note of. Because I do resales as well, I understand buyers when they come in, oh, toilet, there's no window. It's a minus point, I would say. So, and especially it's on the other side, and there is only this ventilation coming from here. So that is something that buyers might be put off by. So meaning to say, if let's say if it's in this range, of course it would be very ideal. But if it's anything below 5% range, I think it's worth considering, because buyers, if in the future you want to sell, I can sell to investor, I can sell to own stay buyers. And of course, rentability wise, we will talk about the 2-bedroom versus the 2+ study in Lake Grand itself. The average price for the smaller units, so the 614 square feet unit, the average rent is 4,500, whereas for the bigger unit, the average price is 4,700. So that is a $200 difference in terms of the pricing. So I think if you can, or if the price gap or we are paying like maybe 3.5% or 3.25%, something in this range, or even less than 5 or even less than 4, I think would be quite reasonable. Then you really can consider the bigger unit 667 in Sora itself. Whereas for the 2+ study, it's also about 4,008. Next, I will be talking about whether is it worthwhile to buy a 2+ study in Sora, because looking at this 4,008 rent, then should I just consider the 2-bedroom? So later I will share. Then we will also be using Caspian as an example. Caspian is 12 years old. The average rent for the 2-bed and the 2+ study is only $100 of difference. So I think generally my recommendation is to go for the 667 square feet if it's in the 3.25% range. Next, the pricing strategy. Again, we will be using the 2-bedroom versus the 4 bedrooms, HDB and lake facing. So just now in the 1-bedroom I mentioned, it will be a bit different. So just now when we compare, right, the HDB facing of the 1+ study versus the 4-bedder, same stack, yeah, it's 0.7, if I didn't remember wrongly, 0.8 and 5.5%. Now we look at the 2-bedder in Lake Gardens. So if Sora adopts the same pricing strategy, same thing wise, the low floor will be much higher in terms of the price gap. So we're talking about a 9.4%. So definitely, I think if it's the same pricing strategy, you should go for something that is a lower floor. And then of course, then next considerably, if let's say the low floor is gone, then maybe we can go for something that is the higher floor units. So of course, we will have to take the comparisons again during the launch day, then we can make a better informed decision. Okay, so selection wise, we will go for something that is deck 21, again the same, because it's nearer to the entrance. This is further, and then low floor first choice, then followed by high floor. Mid floor, if we look at it, it's only a marginal 3.7%. So meaning to say this is 1, then 2, then 3, if we're going for the 2-bedder. So repeat again, stack 21 is my recommendation, and we will go for something that is on the lower floor first, then high floor. Okay, moving forward. Now we will be going into the 2+ study. 2+ study. So basically, the 2+ study are all facing the lake. So, but of course, there are good facings of the lake and not so good facing of the lake. Meaning to say, like for example, these units over here, they are slightly blocked. And this one is still not so bad, these 2 stacks. You can see, okay. So why I say this is slightly blocked, because if you look out here, right, you will still see a little bit of this. And for here, it's also, you will see a bit of this. So as compared to the other stacks, it's quite a full unblocked view of the lake and garden. So now I want to share a little bit more on the layout. I think now we can first identify which one is the good facing of the lake, and then not so good facing of the lake, plus the layout. Then I think it will help us to better understand which unit should we go for. Okay, so next, all the 732 square feet are all 2+ study, and again, the study is in the master bedroom itself. So both the units are the same. This is point number 1. So meaning to say, I've been to the show flat, so I saw how the size is. Again, it's been a while since I've seen something that is so huge, where the layout, the master bedroom, you can actually put a king-size bed, 2 side tables, and you still have ample space to walk around. This is not very common in 3 bedrooms. Some of the newer developments, you don't see this. So I think even without the study, okay, so the study was like this, right? So they didn't enclose off the study in the show flat itself, but they have this side tables, and a king-size bed in there. So I think the space-wise, definitely, even if you want to enclose this part, you're still able to put in all this stuff in there. So I think this good thing about having a study in the master bedroom is you can actually put a glass curtain. If you require it as a study when your partner is sleeping, you can enclose this fully. But if you don't need it, you can open it up and fold it by the side like this. So you can cover it up fully. It will be folded and tucked into one corner of it. So if you don't need that, then it will be a huge space. But if you don't need study at all, then I think this area you can put your yoga mat, massage chair. It's quite luxury in a way. And most importantly, you have a lake view. So you just imagine yourself waking up to the lake and garden view every morning. Okay, so next thing I want to touch on is the balcony area. Although both the layouts have study in the master bedroom, but these two stacks, basically like I've mentioned earlier in another slide, these are slightly blocked. Slightly blocked, but it's facing the lake still. These are all facing the full lake view, and you don't have slightly blocked view. And the third thing I want to touch on is actually the aircon latch. For here, it's actually on the L shape, which is actually on the second bedroom side. Whereas for here, it is half on the second bedroom and half in the balcony. So meaning to say, when you have this half over here, right? So this is a wall. Means it will be a bit darker and you will not be able to see like a full view from the living room itself. So here will definitely be a bit more blocked. Whereas for here, it's a full view. So definitely for this unit will be slightly darker. Okay, and then so again, we will have to go to the pricing strategy. We will take comparison from Lake Gardens, the 2+ study, HDB facing versus the lake facing. Because both of these units, both of them has a lake and a non-lake. 2-bedder 678 square feet versus 2+ study 775 square feet lake facing, HDB facing. Now this one has a little bit of difference, meaning to say that just now when we see the 1+ study and the 2-bedroom, the margin should be as wide as possible. But for here, if it's the HDB facing versus the lake facing, if we talk about the high floor unit, the margin has to be as low as possible. That means if Sora were to adopt the same pricing strategy, then we can buy a high floor lake facing because it is comparable to the HDB facing's 2-bedder PSF. So now we look at it, HDB facing versus the lake facing, it is a marginal 0.35%. Comparing to the lower floor, which is a 4.67%, 0204 versus 0208, it is 4.67%. So meaning to say that if it's the same pricing strategy, then I will go for something that is in the higher floor. Means the higher floor lake facing is very attractively priced as compared to the lower floor one, and of course the HDB facing. If given the almost the same PSF, I will go for something that is on the higher floor. So selection wise, I will go for stack 2 and stack 11. Okay, so these are the ones that are slightly blocked, and then the layout that is not so ideal. So this one, because of the aircon latch, I will go for something that is this. I will go for these 2 units. Stack 2 and 11, this I would think that it will be more attractively priced as compared to the ones that is facing outside, full. But this one will get quite a full view as well because the angle is like this, right? You won't get blocked. But whereas for here, you might get a bit of blockage because of here. Yeah, but for here, easily you have already cleared this part. Stack 2 and 11, higher floor units are the one that I will go for if they adopt the same pricing strategy as Lake Gardens. Yeah, because it's a marginal 0.35%. So these are the possible numbers that you probably want to remember when you go for the balloting. So the lower floor was 4.67%, if I never remember wrongly. Let's recap. Yeah, correct, 4.67%. So I won't go for down, up. I will go up, down. Next, I'll be talking about the 3 and the 3+ study in Sora itself. So I'll be taking examples from 2 different projects for you to better understand if it's worth again to buy a view or something that is non-view facing. Okay, so again, back to Principal Gardens and Alex Residence, 17 minutes for MRT, 3 minutes for MRT. So both the selling point of these two projects are different. Okay, so of course for Principal Garden is 80% communal space. So you walk in with a wow feeling, everything's airy. Whereas for here it's a bit more compact, but it's 3 minutes to MRT. Okay, then I will be showing you these two projects, the 3-bedroom, the performance. Okay, so for Alex Residence, right, 1044 square feet, 33 level, stack 6, sold and profit for 354k. Whereas for Principal Garden, it's level 24, stack 14, 1076 square feet, and profit 664k. Okay, so being like maybe 30 square feet more, their profit is actually 87% more, which is about close to 310,000. A lot of buyers, we buy properties, we look at MRT, of course it's important. I won't say it's not important, I will say it's important as well. But like if you look at two different projects, right, from here we clearly see that this buyer has clearly buy into the selling point of the project. So even if it's not close to MRT, they bought Principal Gardens, and when they resell it in the future, the buyers, when they come in, not all buyers, they are looking for something that is close to MRT. So they come in, but they feel that they have a good feel-good factor. They come in, they wow, you know, they see the pool is huge, the communal area is big, it's airy, it's bright. Most of the units there are very bright actually. So they come in, they have a different feeling. Then of course they are willing to pay a bit more. So next, I will be sharing this project in D5, which is called Twin View. So Twin View, they have two facings. So the 3-bedroom, stack 10, is facing Park Rivera and AYE, which is here. Whereas for stack 15 is facing the Pandan Reservoir. Let me show you the view first. So for the 1055 square feet unit, Twin View, facing Park Rivera and AYE. And then for this stack 15, it's facing the Pandan Reservoir. So actually every morning you get to wake up to like this water, it's very calming. It's not like, whereas for here it's, I mean of course the AYE is slightly further away because it's blocked by Park Rivera already, but still, you know, if you compare two views, this one will definitely be a bit nicer lah, definitely, because you wake up to the waters every morning and it's an unblocked view. Here you can probably see some sunset or whatever. Yeah, so if you look at how they have performed, so the one floor higher, stack 10, which is facing AYE and Park Rivera. Then this is stack 15 that is facing the reservoir. So if you look at the profits today, 1055 versus 1066, AYE one earned 174k, whereas for the Pandan Reservoir one, they earned 342k. So it's 168,000 more in difference, even when they were purchased 5% higher in price. What I'm trying to derive here is developer might price the lake facing a bit higher. So of course we need to understand at which point is it still worthwhile entering. Okay, so all the 3 bedrooms are lake facing. So when all of them are lake facing, then I think the next thing we need to compare would be the layout. Okay, so basically there is 5 different kind of layouts in Sora itself for the 3 and the 3+ study. Okay, so the smallest one will be the 3 Deluxe with 936 square feet. Okay, at stack 4 and 9 is also facing the lake. Okay, so the main thing I want to highlight is, I will say the pros first. Okay, the pros is that at least it's still a tuck kitchen. There are some layouts that I see 936 are the open concept kind of kitchen. At least this is still tuck kitchen. Okay, and then it comes with a window panel over here, so it won't be dark for the kitchen. But the only not so good thing is, the cons will be there is no window. So when you do heavy cooking, it might be a slight issue, okay? Another thing, talking about back to the pros, is that with a 936, it still comes with a flexi. Meaning to say that this can be a study, it can be a storeroom, it can be a helper's room or whatever. You have to just enclose this up. Okay, but if you don't want it, you can also hack this away if you don't need a store or whatever. But I doubt it, because usually for 3 bedrooms, there's family, and then you might need a store to store your luggages, etc. Okay, and another pros, so this is 1 pro, 2 pro, this is the third one. Third one I would say is that the wardrobe is indent in, so it's not protruding out. Normally it's here, right? Then you enter, you see the wardrobe, but this is indent in, so which means to say that the room is quite spacious. So if you want to put your vanity here, it's also still possible. Or you want to shift the bed over here, you want to put your vanity here, it's also possible. When there is more space, there is more room for configuration. Okay, so now we go to the cons. The cons will be, number 1 will be no windows in the kitchen. Number 2, I think this bath is a bit too small, and it's like this. So you have a shower area here, so it's like a T shape, so it's not like the normal kind of bath that we're talking about. So this is the second one, which is the toilet. And then the third one will be, because of the AC latch, this is half window. So meaning to say that half wall, half window. So having a leg, but yet you only have half a window, it is not so ideal, to be honest. So this is something that you might want to take note. I'm not saying that this set cannot buy, but I'm just saying that it didn't play to the fullest of the selling point of this project, which is the leg. Okay, so next thing we will go to the 3-bed premium. So this 3-bed premium is 1098 square feet with 1, 12, 14 and 27 facing the lake. So I will talk about the pros first. Comes with a home shelter, a yard and a wash closet, and the wash closet comes with a window. So this is something quite important. And all the toilets come with window, which I think is quite essential, like I've mentioned in the 2-bedroom earlier. And of course, most importantly, it comes with an indent wardrobe as well. So this developer is nice. I think they have cleverly built these wardrobes in indentwards so that you have more space here, and then you can still have your vanity side. Yeah, so definitely there's sufficient space. If you don't need a vanity, then I think this can be your Osin chair or whatsoever. There's lots of space. And then the good thing about this layout is also this, yeah, the Chinese always call this 玄关. So it's like a L shape. So feng shui wise is quite ideal, because if you don't get your direct access like this, and of course privacy wise you're not compromised because neighbors can't look into your unit. Next, we will talk about the 3 premium study, which is 84 units. Okay, then we have 1152 square feet, 1163 and 1195. So we zoom into each of the individual units first. So basically all 3 are facing the lake. Talk about the first one first. Comes with a study and a window. So this is the first con. Again, it's also indent wardrobe. Also comes with a wash closet and window. But the cons will be this toilet doesn't have a window. Okay, and then something to note is a smaller walkway here. Shorter as compared to here. Same thing for the 1163 square feet. Window, no window, window for the study, window for the master, but it's longer. So in terms of space wise, actually the space is actually going into here, I think. Then whereas for this layout is slightly different, because if you notice, both of these layout, the 1152 and the 1163 square feet, right? The study is in between the master toilet and the common bath. So basically, even if you want to hack it will just be creating another bigger toilet or bigger space, I don't know for what. But this one for sure you will want to keep it, okay? But whereas for this layout is slightly different. 1195 square feet, stack 3 and stack 10 facing the lake. Okay, so if you notice, right, the layout is actually with the study, not in between here. Whereas for this is different. This is actually here, right? So this is beside the living room. So you still have a home shelter, wash closet. Okay, but wash closet doesn't come with window, but 2 of the bath comes with window. And I think I want to touch on this is that this study, right, that is beside the living room, I think it's very, very rare to see something like this. And it's very ideal because if let's say I'm a buyer that needs a study space, then I will keep this study room. But if I don't need the study space, I can make it into a wide frontage living room. Wide frontage. So I think it's quite ideal because when you go into a living room that is wide frontage, it's very different. The feel is very different as well as compared to the normal portrait one. So I think it's versatile. So meaning to say that when you want to sell in the future, resale value wise, you will attract a bigger pool of buyers. I will attract those buyers that needs a study, and I will also attract buyers that needs a bigger space in terms of the living room because this is hackable. Another point I want to note is that if you look at here, right, most of the bedroom in the 3 bedrooms is just L. So they have this little panel over here, L. These 2 layouts are the same, but we go to the 1195 square feet one. We will see L plus 1 more window over here. You can likely put your TV here or your bed here and then TV here. It's versatile. So when you have 2 windows over here, these are layouts that we seldom see in OCR region. So all these we see in probably RCR or even CCR regions, then we see something like this because actually, to be honest, it is cheaper to create this whole thing as a wall. But the developer actually create this as a window and then another window, which gives the room a lot of view, a lot of light, and also very airy. Okay, so I think after seeing all this, right, you will probably know what is my recommendation already. So selection wise, if it's super budget constrained, then I will consider this lah. But if not budget constrained and yet needs a storeroom, then I will consider the C2, which is stack 1 and 12, which is these 2 stacks. Then if it's the no budget constraint, then I will consider C5, which is the 3 plus study, and the one with the study room right beside the living room, because you will have a lot of flexibility. It's very rare and also versatile. If I need the study, I keep it. If I don't need, I want to have a bigger living space, a wide frontage living, then I can create into that wide frontage living. And it's also facing the lake. Like I've mentioned, all 3 bedrooms are facing the lake. So they have basically hit most of the unique selling point of this development, I would say. So I would strongly feel that stack 3 and 10 is something that we can consider if you don't have any budget constraint. Okay, so next I'll be talking about the 4 and 5 bedroom. I will start with the 4 first, of course. I think the 4 and 5 bedroom in this development is very rare because there is only 18 units of 4 bedroom and 18 units of 5 bedroom. Okay, so basically it's all facing the lake and it's on the 20-story block. So first I will touch on the layout first. Okay, so 1528 square feet, set 25 facing the lake. I think this is a very rare kind of layout. It has just everything that fits in from what most buyers are looking for. Number one, it has a wide frontage living. So when you enter into the unit, you will enter by the private lift. Okay, so private lift already is rare, and plus being in D22 it is definitely makes it even more rare to have a private lift. Okay, so later I will share with you some stats, how many units in the whole of District 22 has this kind of private lift or this kind of layout. So if you are one of a buyer that is considering Sora 4-bedder or even 5-bedder, I think it's worth considering, because number one, this is just a rare piece. 18 units in the development itself, plus the supply, which I will talk about later on. Okay, so I think the good thing about this layout is that the private lift, right, has a dual entrance. So you come in, you go into here, you can go into your living room. The another part is that, so they have this little door over here. Say for example, you buy a lot of groceries, you can go straight into the dry kitchen to unload them, or go straight into the kitchen to unload them. Yeah, so this is just a little point to note. And this also comes with a walk-in wardrobe, so which makes the rooms very big. So actually when I see layouts like this, right, I always say it's landed in the sky, because they are very well contained and everything is just in there. You have privacy, you have a wide frontage, which if you have been to portrait versus wide frontage, the wide frontage as you enter it's just full brightness, and plus you just imagine the view when you yourself wake up to every morning, or even your guests when they come. This is the lake view and the garden view, full. Okay, and because of the facing, it's right over here. Yeah, so you have the full greenery view and the lake view as well. Another thing I want to point out is that they have a junior. So this is very ideal for multi-generation. A lot of times when you buy a 4-bedder, if we have done some research, or I have done my own research, those that doesn't come with a junior master don't profit as much. So I think this is ideal because it comes with a junior master. Okay, so this bedroom comes with a Jack and Jill toilet, Jack and Jill concept, so you can share between this bedroom and this bedroom, and this becomes an ensuite. So basically you have a flexibility of having 2 ensuite toilets, or 3 in fact, junior, master, and also this room. So next I will be talking about the supply. So a lot of times buyers ask me, is it feasible to buy such a big unit in these districts like this, or how will be my resale value be in the future? So I think I will be sharing on this part. Okay, so the supply of 4 bedrooms in the whole of D22, 1,003 square feet with private lift, there are only 73 units in the whole of District 22. Basically, they are all not available for now because they are in Jayden and the gardens itself. Plus us, there will be another 18 of units that's available for sale in the future. So that makes it very rare and exclusive, because if you want to have a unit that is above 1,003 and then with private lift, we can only go to these 3 projects. That means in the future when you want to sell, you don't have much competition, but you might have quite a bit of demand, because when you have very little supply and then huge demand, that is where your price shoots up. 5-bedder. 4-bedder already have a bit of doubts whether will any buyer buy from me in the future. What about 5-bedder? Okay, so I'll be touching on the 5-bedder. Okay, so the 5-bedder is this stack, also facing the lake. So layout wise, this is stack 16, 1679 square feet. And same thing, wide frontage living, huge wide frontage living. This is 5.5 approximately. But when you go to the show flat, right, you will notice that this 5.5 is slightly wider than other 5.5. Okay, because I feel it that way. I've been to the show flat. When I see it's a bit different. I've been to other show flats that are also 5.5, but I don't feel that wide. I think mainly it's because of the private lift and the a dry kitchen. So this whole area, some of the 5.5, right, is just here, and then when you walked into the unit, you will go straight into the room. So there is a cutout somehow, some parts. But whereas for here, this whole piece is like 5.5. Yeah, I'm not so sure if you get what I mean, but there is no cutout on any of the ends. So you will feel that when you enter into the room itself, right, when you enter the living room itself, you will feel that it's like, wow, there's space all over this whole area. So same thing, it's actually similar to the 4 bedrooms layout. It's just that it comes with a one more bedroom here. And then also same, they have another door over here that can load your groceries into the dry kitchen and also the wet kitchen. Also comes with a junior master. Master bedroom is super huge, and it comes with a long bathtub. This is something that is very rare because I've sold a few bigger units before and then also landed. This is something that buyers will be looking for when they want to buy a bigger unit, because like I've mentioned, landed property owners, even they want to buy a bigger unit owners, right, like 5-bedder, 4-bedder, these are the things they want to look at. Bath, and also a his and her sink, which is dual sink, and also most importantly, the walk-in wardrobe. These are the plus points. Okay, so these 2 bedrooms of course share the bath. So next thing I will be talking about will be the supply. So I think a lot of us are concerned, if I were to buy, wow, such a huge unit, whether will I be able to resell in the future. Okay, let me show it to you. So basically, in the whole of District 22, there is only 18 units of 5-bedder with private lift, and that is Lake Gardens. Okay, so plus us, there will be a total of only 36 units in total. Yeah, so the other older properties like Lakefront, Lakeview, Lake Grand, they do have 5-bedder, but it doesn't come with private lift. So this makes it very, very exclusive, I would say. So when you are a buyer looking for 5-bedder, and when you go to one that is without private lift and with private lift, it does make a lot of difference. Okay, so what happens when there is very little supply or rare? I will be taking some examples from Tampines. So Tampines also is a very established estate. Okay, so a lot of people, like I've mentioned earlier, a lot of people ask me, Tampines got people buy 5-bedder meh? But if you look right, in the whole of the Tampines area, we only have Modena, Manhattan, and East Point Green. So Modena only has a 4-bedder, Manhattan only has a 4-bedder. East Point Green, there is a 5-bedder that is TOP in 1998, 2314 square feet at only 8 units. It was only until Treasure at Tampines came out in 2023, when they TOP, the 5-bedder came out with 1668 square feet of 110 units. But if we look at the Property Guru today, there are only a mere 10 to 11% that is for sale. 10%. So which means to say, because these people, they buy for own stay, not everybody wants to sell. That makes it very rare. So even if I have like 110 units, but there are only 10% of it, or 10% of the owners wants to sell it. Okay, so now if we look at the transactions that has happened in Treasure Tampines itself, the 5-bedder Treasure profits. So we have 1690 square feet, 1722, 1690. So they were purchased at 2.07 million, 1.924 in 2020 and 2019. Now if you look at the profits today, they are ranging between 500 to even like the highest one at 981,000, holding a mere 3 years and 2 months. Yeah, so basically when you have only 110 plus the very minimal supply and 8 units of, that is 118 in the whole of Tampines, and only 10% is selling because the rest of the 90% is for own stay. This is the profit that we're looking at. This is the profit we're talking about, because when it's rare, buyers are willing to pay more. Plus, this one has no private lift. So how about one unit that has all the requirements and has a private lift? Makes it even more exclusive. This is definitely a rare piece, I would say. Then next thing I will also share about Marymount area. So Marymount area, Thomson area, all the projects over there. We have Marymount Views, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. So basically there is not much of 5 bedrooms. The only 5 bedrooms that is available in this area is Xinmin Plaza. And then until Jadescape came along and TOP in 2023 with only 39 units. Okay, and then 5 bedroom at 2099 square feet. And plus, something we need to note is that there is a lot of landed in this area. Maybe for Tampines, right, there isn't so much of a landed. That is why the buyers, they can't find any units in this area that is like this. So maybe that explains the price or the profits that they have made. So, but what about the Marymount area? There are actually, in fact, many landed in this area. So, but if you look at today, right, Jadescape profit, yeah, 8th floor unit, 16th floor, 5th floor, 21st floor, all bought in 2020, 21/8. So today, purchase price 3.428. I think a lot of us, maybe even back then, they were thinking, oh, 3.428 buying a 5-bedder in the development. It honestly doesn't make sense. But if you look at the sale price today, 4.55 million, and the profit is 1.112 million. So basically, I came to derive that every area, even there is landed in the area, there are still people that want condo. Now, that's number one. Number two is that there are people that are willing to pay this price, given that size and everything, because there's a need, there's a requirement that they have. So, like for Jadescape, there is only 39 units, right, of 5-bedder. So basically, when this one rare piece comes out, that is the profit that we are experiencing. Okay, so why? Like I mentioned, there is a lot of landed in this area. So if we talk about this, right, this Pemimpin Terrace house, 1680 square feet land size, sold at 4.338. So actually, the buyer that buy the Jadescape, right, buy at 4.55 million. They could easily buy this at 4.338, but they didn't, because the 4.338 is most of the time a rather old one, and they also need to at least have 1 mil of cash on hand for renovation. Okay, and 4.55, I can actually buy a freehold. Why do I want to buy a, even let's say for example I have 1 million, but not all buyers, I came to derive, not all buyers want to stay in the landed. Even this 30 Jalan Pintau, 2039 square feet, land size, freehold, sold at 3.4 million. I mean, easily they can afford that. Even if you buy this 3.4 million, you pay 1 million of renovation, it's only 4.4 million. Then why don't buy this? So I think just one logic is that not all buyers want to stay in landed. Some buyers, they just want to stay in a condo. Yeah, so that is why they are willing to pay 4.55 for a leasehold 99 years Jadescape. Okay, so when supply is very low, demand is, even if it's not high, it's also equals to good profit. 2 buyers looking for 5-bedder. For example, you only have 2 buyers in a year, you only have 2 buyers looking for a 5-bedder, and there's 6 months no supply, and what, just your 1 unit comes out of nowhere, you decided to sell, what is going to happen? That 2 buyers might be coming to you bidding for the unit. You never know. Okay, so I've come to the end of my video. Once again, I'm Charissa. So if you have any questions, or you have any queries you have on the layout of this project, or the facing, which one should I choose, which price point should I enter, you need some advice on any other properties that you're looking at, please feel free to contact me on the number shown below. And if you have any projects you want me to review in the future, you can DM me or drop me a text as well. Okay, so that's all for today. Once again, I'm Charissa, and I'll see you soon.